The Jackal hung a watermelon from a tree, then walked some distance away and aimed at it with a makeshift gun. Although he hit the target, it was slightly off. So, he took out some tools and made a few adjustments this time. He hit dead center, satisfied. He loaded real bullets, fired again, and confirmed the gun's precision. With the test complete, he was ready to say goodbye to the gunsmith, Norman, but just then, Agent Bianca and her team arrived at Norman's latest hideout. The Jackal noticed a strange car parked outside, which made him cautious. Instead of heading in, he quietly observed from a nearby cafe. Moments later, the cafe's power went out, clearly the work of Bianca's team. Knowing Norman was in danger, the Jackal quickly called him. Unfortunately, Norman, who had been working tirelessly on the custom weapon, was fast asleep. Luckily, he eventually answered. After hearing the warning, Norman immediately deleted the data from his computer, grabbed his gun, and watched the door. He heard movement outside and fired rapidly, emptying his magazine in seconds. Bianca and another agent pushed forward, catching Norman off guard, overwhelmed by the two agents. Norman was quickly captured and tied to a chair. Bianca spotted the Jackal's backpack nearby and immediately deduced he was close. She interrogated Norman, but he stubbornly refused to say a word. Just as Bianca smugly prepared to take her time, a sudden gunshot rang out. Norman was shot dead, and the Jackal was the one who pulled the trigger. Maybe in his mind, only a dead man could keep secrets. The agents quickly reacted, opening fire on the Jackal. Lightly armed, he could only dodge and evade. Spotting a nearby horse, he leapt onto it and rode away. Bianca wasn't about to let this chance slip away. She gave chase, speeding after him in a car. The Jackal turned toward the forest, not noticing the low-hanging branches overhead. Taking advantage of the night and the cover of the trees, he set up an ambush. But it was too dark, he couldn't find her, forced to abandon the ambush. The Jackal jumped off a cliff to escape. Watching him disappear, Bianca yelled out in frustration. A soaking wet Jackal stumbled into a barn, seeking shelter from the rain, but before he could catch his breath, the farmer pointed a shotgun at him. The Jackal moved to strike but was knocked out cold by a brutal blow. When he came to, he was tied up, hanging from the ceiling. He tried bribing the farmer, but the man only spoke Hungarian and couldn't understand a word of English except when he heard the mention of money. Intrigued, the farmer called his English-speaking nephew to come over. After the call, the farmer stuffed a piece of bread into the Jackal's mouth. Seizing the opportunity, the Jackal slammed into the farmer, knocking him out and raiding his ammo stash. He'd had enough of running out of bullets. Just as the Jackal was about to steal a car, another vehicle pulled up the farmer's nephew and his friends. The Jackal scrambled into the car and tried to start it, but the men spotted the farmer and opened fire, ducking down. He managed to get the car started but couldn't see where he was going, crashing shortly after. One of the men cautiously approached, gun drawn, and opened the car door only for the Jackal to shoot him from under the vehicle without hesitation. He walked over and shot the man dead. The other man, terrified, surrendered immediately. Realizing he could use someone who spoke the language, the Jackal ordered him to drive, sitting in the car. The Jackal thought about his mission for days. But stranded in Hungary and unfamiliar with the area, he had no choice but to call his wife, the only person he trusted, and ask her to bring his disguise kit. She still believed he was a corporate spy, and although worried, she agreed. She only wanted him to retire after this final job. With the young man's help, the Jackal evaded police and reached the city. As a professional assassin, he knew he should kill the man, but when the young man remarked, the Jackal hesitated. He had once wanted to be a good man. Staring at a family photo on the man's phone, the Jackal warned him that if he ever spoke about him, he'd kill the entire family. Later that night, his wife arrived with the disguise kit. She didn't ask questions, just wanted to see him transform. The Jackal skillfully altered his appearance, becoming an old man in a wheelchair. The disguise was flawless, even Agent Bianca wouldn't recognize him. The Jackal passed through airport security effortlessly, boarding the plane. But as luck would have it, Bianca was on the same flight, seated right in front of him after landing. Both of them checked into the same hotel. The Jackal considered killing her. She was becoming a real problem. But he knew eliminating a government agent before completing his mission would complicate things. After some thought, he decided to focus on the job first.